Welcome to a brand new episode of Elder Scrolls Online Addon Spotlight. Today, I'm going to be showing you combat metrics. Now, there is quite a few different combat logs and different kind of combat add-ons, but this is most definitely my favorite. So first I'll go over what combat metrics actually offers you. So after you're finished a fight, you set a keybind to pull up the big screen you have here, and it will show you your DPS, your group DPS, the percentage of the group DPS that you did, along with, a little more information about what damage and your number of hits. Of course, you also get to see all your stats and resources. And here we have all buffs and debuffs that were on us, as well as how much uptime they have. Here you can see all the buffs and debuffs you actually put out. And here you can see where I gained magicka from and how I drained it. Of course, I'm on a magicka character, so there's nothing in this slot, but it would be the same thing but for stamina. Down here near the bottom, you see your targets. So if you're beating up a bunch of mobs at once, you're going to have multiple targets. Here you can see all your abilities and how much percentage of your DPS they did or your damage, how often they crit, and all that good stuff specific to each ability. If we go on up to the top here, you can see I'm in the damage caused area. I can actually go to healing done, maybe I'm a healer, and get all this kind of information, but me as a healer. Of course, all your debuffs in this area is the same, but now you actually get to see what abilities healed you and your heals per second. Moving on to the next tab, we actually have incoming damage. Now, I was last fighting a target skeleton, so obviously this is empty, but if you're fighting another person or if you're fighting a mob, this will actually tell you what abilities you were hit with and what ability, or what person actually did all this damage to you, and it will be really handy. Next up, we have healing received. Maybe you're a tank, you're seeing how well your healer's doing. Well, this is the screen you want to be on. Last but not least, we have toggle combat log. This actually toggles a full combat log that will tell you exactly what happened and when it happened. This will also actually show you when people hit you and how much it hit you for and all that kind of good stuff. Here you can scroll through, and this is really handy when you're seeing, well, does this set work the way I think it does? A combat log is super useful in figuring that out. Of course, once you are inside your combat log, you can toggle all sorts of information, so you can have it show or you can have it not show. That way, if you're actually trying to track down something specific like a buff, you can just toggle buffs on and toggle everything off, or do whatever you want. You can toggle everything on and off. So what are these up here? Well, these are the buttons that are going to allow you to delete fights, save a fight or save a fight with combat log, load a fight, and look through your previous fights. So yes, that means that you don't have to actually pick it up and look at it for every fight and hope you remember or save it. It will actually save a bunch of fights for you. Now, either while you're in a fight or while you're just outside of a fight, you'll see that I have a little black bar to the left of my character. This is going to show you my DPS, healing, incoming healing, and all that good stuff, as well as the length of time of the fight. This is just a quick little info bit that you can leave on your screen all the time to have a quick look, and then if you want to look into a fight deeper, that's when you open up this screen. So now we're going to get into the settings of combat metrics, because there's a few different things you can actually do here. Of course, you can use account-wide settings so that all your characters have the exact same settings. I really only use it with one character, hence why I have this off. You can save your fight history. Like I said, you can save your fight history. You can change this from 1 all the way up to 25. That way, when you're clicking back, you'll be able to click back 15 times. Do you want to show individual stacks of buff in the buff panel or not? Here is something really nice of the add-on author to add in. We have light mode. Combat metrics will only calculate the DPS or HPS in the live report window. No statistics will be calculated, and the big report window will be disabled. That means that just that little box I showed you after the big window will actually be on. Now, if you love using combat metrics, but it's a little too heavy in Cyrodiil, you can have it so it turns off all fight logging in Cyrodiil so it doesn't have any impact on your performance, but you don't need to remember to turn it off. You can also just set it to only light mode in Cyrodiil. Maybe you want a little bit of info, but you don't need the big report window. Next up, we have Auto Select Channel. Now, I will show you all the keybinds that you can set for combat metrics later, but you can actually set keybinds to post your DPS or your healing per second to chat. Now, what if you were just talking in guild chat, but you're in a dungeon with a group? Don't worry, if you have this turned on, it's going to automatically post your DPS to your group chat. If not, it's going to put it in /say. Here you can decide if you want to automatically take a screenshot when you're opening the report window. Now you're probably wondering, well, it saves fights, why do I need this? Well, because it actually resets whenever you log off or quit the game and come back in. You won't have any of those past fights unless you saved them or took a screenshot. Minimum fight length for a screenshot. This way, when you're just killing random, bears going through the overland and you accidentally press your keybind and open it up, don't worry, it was probably a quick fight. There won't be a wasted screenshot. Here you can choose the scale of your fight report window. Mine is at 1349, but you can set it to whatever you please. Now we are moving on to the live report window. This is that little square I was talking about earlier. You can enable it. You can actually use compact horizontal, which I will show you now. That way it's a nice skinny little one, or you can actually use vertical. And now I am fumbling around trying to get back to settings. Here you can use vertical, and now we can see what it looks like. Now you can choose to show the background. I prefer it, that way you can kind of read the numbers better. Do you want to show DPS, healing per second, incoming healing per second, or incoming DPS? Of course, how long the fight was? You can. Our next option is if you prefer to have your combat log actually stream to your chat. Here you can set what you want the name of it to show, as well what you want to show in it. Here, I'll show you. I opened up my chat and it's in the combat log. So now whenever something happens, look at that. It's going to tell me what happened. So you have a live actual combat log right in your chat window. Now here is a bunch of debug options that you really don't need to use. This is just if you're having issues, the add-on author might actually ask you for some of this info. The only one I find useful is show ability IDs in the fight report window, because then I can use it to set up my Srendar to either ignore or make buffs prominent. Like I mentioned, Combat Metrics does come with its very own set of keybinds, so you just head to Controls, Add-on Keybinds, and look for Combat Metrics. Here you can see Toggle Fight Report, I have bound to 9, and because I usually don't post my DPS to chat or anything, I don't have any of these bound, but here you can see all the different options about what you can keybind to automatically post the chat, or if you want to toggle your live report window, which I just leave up all the time. Like all of the other add-ons featured in my Addon Spotlight series, you can get this add-on on ESOUI.com. Of course, that means you can also grab it from the Minion add-on manager and update it from there. If you have any questions about this add-on, or maybe you prefer a different combat log or fighting add-on, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.